Gerald, would you like to just come up? Welcome, Gerald, everybody.
Thank you.
So he's not getting up to preach just yet. He's just going to give us a little bit of a testimony. So first of all, Gerald, how did you come to faith?
I came to faith in Coombe Bissett, near Salisbury, when I went to a youth camp and heard the gospel.
And which organisation was that with?
A Christian archery movement. I was a toxopholite.
Oh, right, okay. Right, that sounds very posh. So in your life, I know you've had a motorbike accident. So would you like to talk a little bit about your motorbike accident?
Yeah, I had a crash in Stoke Debenham, near Cobham, in Surrey, where I was born and lived for many years. And my crash was the same day as Sterling Moss. He crashed at 2:30, and 8 o'clock, lovely sunny evening, two friends of mine were walking by the house, and my sister's boyfriend's motorcycle was outside, and they said, "Can you ride it?" And for some stupid reason, never having ridden a motorbike before, I said yes. And so Davenham Drive, where I used to live, was sort of egg-shaped.
Okay.
And it was quite narrow, which meant that if two cars parked on either side of the road, if you were a car, you couldn't get through. So the cars were staggered all the way around the road. And I'm going with the curve of the road and going in and out of the cars, and the bike got a puncture. And it went straight out of control. There was no way I could control it. Hit a curb. I flew over the handlebars like a rocket out of a silo. I broke almost every bone in my body. I had 5 clots of blood around the brain. If any one of those had touched my brain, I would have died. And I was in hospital with Sterling Moss. We were in the same ward.
Okay.
And I was unconscious for a month.
Goodness.
And then semi-conscious for another month or two. I'm conscious now, in case you're wondering. And yes, it was remarkable. And I often think, going back to that night where I said to Mike, my tent leader, I want to be a Christian, what my life would have turned out like, knowing me as I know me as a Christian, and a Bible-believing Christian. And then, of course, May the 12th, 1962, I have this terrible motorbike crash, and what could have happened to me then and there. So I'm grateful to be born again and grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
And I was 75 on Monday.
Whoa. So in that time of convalescing, did you feel you got any closer to God? Did it change your attitude to faith?
It was very disorientating. If anyone here has been sick long term, it's very disorientating. You're not where you normally be. You don't see who you see. And I had police interviews and so on. And but they said no crime has been committed here. So no. But as I came out of it, it's like, why has my life been spared?
Yeah.
And it sort of put a far greater value on me for so many others. And I've been really privileged. I've worked with people like Roger Forster, who's been my theological mentor. He's brilliant. And lots of other well-known people who've influenced me and helped shape me over the years, even now. And it's just been a privilege. ITV did a 30-minute story of my life called Handfuls of Heaven, which was just remarkable. And then I did Songs of Praise for the BBC on Prophets and Prophecy, and that was well received. And then, I've done Wembley Stadium with nearly 50,000 people, Royal Albert Hall so many times, I couldn't tell you how many times I spoke there, and just lots of other things. I'm privileged to know some fine people in the body of Christ right across the board. It's been remarkable and has enriched my life enormously. And that's enabled me to be some limited blessing to others.
So last question, is there any one standout moment where you really felt God in charge and in control of what was going on?
One, that's really tough. I've always wanted to speak for God, and when when you speak to people in the course of your talk, as I'll do in a short while, and you pick someone out and you actually get their name and what they need without embarrassing them, and guys just break down and cry, and you think, I wouldn't want to do anything else. That life has probably been totally turned around now, and I knew nothing, but God does know.
Yeah.
He knows everything. He's not like us. And I think that's the most moving time in my ministry. I mean, I'm sure there have been lots and lots of opportunities. I'm going to share a few later on. It's been a privilege and fun most of the time. I'm a church leader. And so that to me is where you make a connection. You may never see them again, but their life has turned around. Someone came to me when we were having a drink and just said, "Do you remember when you came?" And it was somewhere near here. And I said, "No, I could do 1,000 meetings a year sometimes." And then she just spoke about her son, who rededicated his life to Christ, and he's serving God now. And that's what I'll go home in my heart with, that little story, because you just think, wow, I know what I'm like. Everyone's got a public personality, but we've all got a private life. Even as Christians, we've got a private life. And I'll touch on that as well later on. And sometimes you can't get out of that privacy. And so when you see someone break down and weep, and sometimes I often give you a hug, and a guy called Sam who came over and gave me a kiss. He'd been in porn for 4 years. And I was leading a meeting at home, and he didn't know who I was. He was 17. And he said, "Who are you? What do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm a speaker and I'm an author." He said, "Oh, what sort of books have you written?" I said, "Well, the last one was called Sexual Healing on Pornography and the Shame That Goes With It." And no one talks about it, so you think I'm the only guy in the church doing this. And so when I said that, I didn't know he'd been a 4-year porn addict every night for 4 years, 17. And when he got home, he told me just quite recently, when the parents drove him home, he thought, "I've prayed for 4 years to get out of this. Has God put this man in my life to get me out of my prison?" Most staggering sentence I've heard in the last year. And he's just become such a close friend now. I mean, he came and spent some time with us. He lives about an hour away. And his whole life's changed. And his parents know, and I know they know. And it's been remarkable, wonderful.
Yeah.
Really
Isn't God good?
Yes, that's a bit of an understatement, I think.
Isn't he good? Yes. He breaks out those captives
every
doesn't
day,
he?
all
So
around the
that's
world.
good. Okay, well, we look with anticipation to what you're going to say later.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to what God is going to actually speak into and over us. And so we're going to have open ears
Great,
and
thank
open
you.
hearts to
Thank you
receive.
very
So
much.
thanks very much,
I'll
Gerald.
leave the other way.
Yes, okay, yes, the easy way. Yeah,